I like to be extra gay because I'm being satirical about it. Because when I was young, I was like, you're so gay, and I was like, you want to see gay? You want to see gay? I will bring you gay. So I go extra gay just to make a joke of it. When I was 6 years old, I used to put on my sister's dresses, and we would put on little shows on the bed. And one day, my mom walked into the room. And she was shocked. It wasn't anything negative, she wasn't being mean, but she was just like, ugh. Because, you know, it's because she's confused. You know, it's not normal, you know? For her, it's not normal for her. Maybe like 16 years. And I never expressed my femininity because as I was growing up as a young person, I was being told by my family and my school and everywhere, and being feminine is bad. You are a man, you need to be masculine. So I was holding it all in, but in my head, I have all these amazing ideas. I hear songs, I see art, I have all these performances that I wanted to do, and I kept them trapped inside.
Welcome to the show. Come out, step into the light. I'm Minh Tuấn.
And I'm Alushka.
Today I will show you a really special guest.
I know who he is. Lots of our previous guests also have spoken about him. I think he's quite famous in Saigon.
I know his name.
Ricardo?
I know him. Queen of the drag queen in Saigon, right?
Right.
Okay, welcome our guest today.
Hola, hola, hola. How are you, my darling?
Oh, hello.
Hi. Nice to see you, darling. That's the only reason I came here today, to get a kiss and hug. I am Ricardo. You can call me Ricardo for short because we're friends. But my drag persona is Esta Ricardo. Because Esta means it is in Spanish. It's like non-gender. Because my drag is very non-gender. What am I? You know. I originally come from the UK. I come from a town called Birmingham. Well, we call it Birmingham. But I don't want to sound like that, so I've changed my voice. I've been living in Vietnam for 3 years, bye now. I originally started as a teacher, and I still do teach a little bit. If you want me to teach your children, I'm available. But now I'm more focused on my drag, my art, and event organizing, managing, gender funk. So I am the founder, mother, CEO, host, overall badass bitch of gender funk.
And gender funk is huge in Saigon.
Gender funk, do you want me to talk about gender funk? Explain what it is?
Yeah,
or do you want to wait? Gender funk is, it's quite hard to define. I'm still trying to find the words for it, but generally it's a queer collective. So it's a group of queers from all over the world and from Vietnam. We basically all banded together and made this brand. And the main thing that we do is we create events, but we prefer to call them spaces. Inclusive queer spaces for people to explore their gender, like I am today.
I've actually seen a lot of our guests go to your drag queen event. And is that part of gender funk?
So gender funk is, it's mainly a space, but within that queer space, of course, we have drag performers, but we also have queer performers. You don't need to be a drag queen. We do have some alternative performers as well. Of course, you need references, you need inspiration, you need influences. If we're building this space for all these little queers to come and experiment with themselves, we need to give them, you know, encouragement and a push. We have a drag show at every event that we do. What I really love about the drag that we do at Gender Funk is it's very alternative. It's very dirty, filthy, horror, glamour. At Gender Funk, we view drag very differently than I think the world views drag. The definition for us is very blurred.
Blurred. As drag queens, it's a friendly place for lesbians to come there too, or is it just for most gay people?
Welcome for any person, because what's important to define is that Gender Funk is not actually an LGBT event, it's a queer event. You know, we said to explore your gender or your sexuality. These are very different things. Your gender is how you identify yourself, like as a male, a female, or anything in between. And your sexuality is who you want to perhaps kiss or who you find attractive, and that can change. So these are very different things. We have a space to explore gender and sexuality. You don't have to be gay or LGBT to explore your gender. You can be straight or whatever. So our events are welcome to anyone. We actually, I would say we have like 50% of our audience are straight, because I see sexuality is very fluid. It changes. On a Tuesday, I'm a lesbian. It is welcoming for lesbian people. I do feel that the lesbian scene isn't as represented in Saigon, or in the world really, which is something that should be questioned and challenged. Maybe the majority of lesbian people don't vibe with that event. It's not the kind of environment that they like to be in. Because we realised that we have a community of people at Gender Funk, and not all of them want to come to a huge nightclub, stay up till 12 AM when the show starts, and be really crammed and packed in with lots of drunk people. In terms of lesbianism, there's a party series called Les Come Out in Saigon. It's taken a break, but I think it might be coming back. So Les Come Out is a fabulous party series for lesbian people, created by lesbian people. So, but any lesbians watching, you are more than welcome to come.
Can you tell us something about your outfit today?
You know how to charm a man, woman, thing, whatever I am. Because I'm from the UK, of course, so I'm very inspired. It's like very Vivienne Westwoody, it's very tartan, like Scottish, with the crown. You know, we have a queen. And actually, I designed this outfit myself.
I was about to ask.
But it was made by my drag baby Gumamela. He/she/they is a fashion designer and one of my drag children. Do you know what drag children are?
No idea, please.
Okay,
please.
I'm gonna have to school you all. Where's the chalkboard? For a more experienced drag queen to basically find new talent and kind of guide them on their drag journey. I am the drag mom. They all call me mom. And the thing is, it's because when I started drag, which was like a year and a half ago maybe, I kind of instantly was like looking for more creatives to like work with, and they became my drag babies when I was like 3 months into doing drag. And the thing with drag as an art form is it's an art form where many different art forms meet, which is why I think it's one of the most difficult art forms. Like, a lot of people get to drag through dance. Maybe they start as a dancer, they're dancing, and then once they reach a point where they're dancing, when they're really, really good at it, they're like, well, what's next? I want to express myself more, and then maybe they get into drag. Or maybe they're a hairstylist or a makeup artist. So if you think about a drag queen, they have to have the wig, looking gorgeous, they need to have fashion, they need to be funny, they need to perform, host, makeup, making stuff. It's so many talents all put into one art form, so it's real hard. But no, what I love about my drag children, it's something called relationship anarchy. So society tells us, gives us relationship roles that we should have. So for example, you know, I am a son of a mom and dad, and these are my mom and dad, and I need to love them and respect them and go for dinners with them, blah, 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 blah. But my mom and dad obviously have no idea how to talk to me about my sexuality or my gender bending or whatever. As a drag mom, I serve that role for my drag children. So they can talk to me about maybe their transgenderism or about their queerness or ask for sexual health advice. So it's not just the creative element of having drag children. It's actually, you do fill some motherly roles. Then second, your education system doesn't talk about it. Your friends don't talk about it, or they make fun of it. It's like joking and gossiping bitchy. It's not really very in the media a lot either. So if you're like a 12-year-old little gay child, and gay I mean like LGBTQIZ2 hashtag, whatever, you have no one you can talk to, you have no idea, well, I'm gay, like, how do I do this? What do I do? What's
Where do I put it in?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one part of it, of course. The queer community is really important because that community is what is educating these little kids who have been left out with nothing, basically, who've been failed by society, in my eyes anyway.
Are there any rules for drag?
Oh my god, good question. When drag started, it was a very radical thing. It was very rebellious. Society's telling you to behave in one way, and it's like, no, I'm gonna do what I want. And a man putting on a dress was a very radical thing back in the day. Then I think drag kind of, you know, it constantly evolves and changes. It's an art form. Drag had kind of become seen as men or male identifying people or biological men giving you the illusion of a woman. So it was all about like, how much can you look like a woman? Like pass as a woman, trick people that you're a woman, and that whole illusion, you know, the whole Whitney Houston, all of that, Celine Dion. Now drag is changing, and drag for me and for Gender Funk is an artistic tool. It's something that you can use to explore yourself. So at Gender Funk, what we believe is in the social construct of gender. So basically, society has created these roles of male and female. Let me clarify a difference. So your sex is how you are born. So for example, if I was born a male, I have male organs. That's my sex. Your gender is very, very different. Gender is created by society. So for example, men, you know, are taught they have to be strong, and they need to make the money, they need to work hard. And on the other hand, you have women, who should stay in the kitchen, be quiet, be beautiful, be pretty. At Gender Funk, we think these ideas of gender are not only stopping us from being our true selves, but they're actually harming us. For example, if you have a male, and you know, you're a little baby boy, and you're born like, yeah, I'm a little baby boy. And Everyone's telling you, society, education, your parents, they're like, you need to be strong, you can't cry, you can't show emotions. We're human beings, we're supposed to let our emotions out. Like, that's the whole thing. So if you don't let your emotions out, when you have a little drink, it usually comes out in the form of anger because you're building up all this emotion and exploding. And if you look at the world, there's loads and loads of angry men destroying it. So this social idea of gender is really, really harming people. And it's the same for women, like, you know, telling women, you need to just be pretty and look after the children and be in the kitchen. It's like, what about their dreams? What if they don't want to be pretty? What if they want to look like a monster on a Tuesday? The funny thing is that this idea of gender is totally made up. If you look in England like 100 years ago, or maybe longer, I'm not good at history, men wore high heels and makeup and wigs.
Very true. Like they used to have the white wigs and the powdered face and the
like,
high heel shoes.
If you look at different cultures all over the world, like the clothes differ. Like for example, in England, if you looked at the clothes that people wore in like Saudi Arabia, for example, people are, oh, they're wearing dresses. They're not. It's their cultural, you know, garments. I don't know what they're called. These ideas of gender, we feel at GenderFunk, and lots of research also says, so once you realize something's made up, it means it doesn't trap you anymore. The rule, once you realize you break a rule, you realize the rule doesn't exist, and then you can actually be who you want to be, not like being like, oh, I've got to be a man, I'm a man, I'm so manly. You're like, actually, I want to put some lipstick on. So at GenderFunk, we're like, come, we've got a space here for you to come and explore and break the rules in a safe space. I became confident and comfortable with my sexuality and my gender bending because of my straight friends predominantly. It wasn't queer people really that made me comfortable with myself. When I was younger, I played in the queer scene. Like I'd go there because girls gotta get laid. But it was actually, I went to this festival. I used to work in the festival scene for 4 years in Europe. So I was like organizing and performing. That's when I found myself and started gender bending. I went to this one festival and I was part of this camp and it was called a queer camp. So I get there and it's loads of men, biological men and biological women in relationships. And I was like, excuse me, where are all the gay men? I came here for so I was really confused. I was like, what is this? This isn't queer. But it was queer. Like, queer isn't defined by your sexuality. And basically, I was being my natural, most gay. Like, ultra, the gayest thing you've ever seen. Like, pink fans, like, whatever. I like to be extra gay because I'm being so typical about gay. Because when I was young, I was like, you're so gay, you're so gay. And I was like, oh, you want to see gay? You want to see gay? I will bring you gay. So I go extra gay just to make a joke of it. So I was at this festival and I was being my most gay and everybody was loving it. They were celebrating And then when I was on the plane leaving the festival, I had this switch in my mind. My whole life I'd been asking for acceptance from the world for being myself, for being queer and being gay. I was like, accept me, accept me, accept me. I realized like, I don't need anyone to accept me. And I don't ask for acceptance anymore. Yeah. And I feel as the queer community, we need to stop asking for acceptance and being like, no, we are inviting you to come and join our queerness because queer people can bring so many benefits to the world. Who do you think does all the makeup? Who do you think makes the clothes? Like, it's queer people. Who makes the parties? Maybe we should be looking to queer people for inspiration and not just queer people, people of minority people of different colors and races, etc. Looking for different references to make the world a better place.
I want to know that. Where do you get that confidence from?
You are allowed. You are more than welcome to be a drag queen.
That was my second question.
So, okay.
Can a girl be a drag queen?
So first we'll talk about confidence. Let me tell you the whole story about Ricardo first, because it will lead into this confidence.
Ooh, I'm ready.
When I was 6 years old, I used to put on my sister's dresses, and we would put on little shows on the bed. We were like, and one day, my mom walked into the room. And she was shocked. It wasn't anything negative, she wasn't being mean, but she was just like, ugh. Because, you know, it's because she's confused. Yeah, it's not normal, you know? For her, it's not normal for her. After that moment, I didn't wear female clothes for maybe like 16 years. And I never expressed my femininity because as I was growing up as a young person, I was being told by my family and my school and everywhere, and being feminine is bad. You are a man, you need to be masculine. So I was holding it all in, but in my head, I have all these amazing ideas. I hear songs, I see art, I have all these performances that I wanted to do, and I kept them trapped inside. When I found the festival scene that I was talking about earlier, this was a space that people had created for me to express myself safely and discovered who I really was and found my confidence because people had built this safe space for me to explore. And then when I came to Vietnam, and when I got here, I was like, there's more to go. I mean, there are some gay bars, but they're very I had lots of skills from festivals, so I started to help with that a little bit, but I really wanted to make gender funk because I'd had the idea for gender funk for 7 years. But I did, and all gender funk is a safe space to explore yourself. It's just an extension of what somebody did for me. 5 years ago, people created a space for me to be who I wanted to be and find myself, and now I'm just passing on the gift to other people, and they'll pass it on to other people, and that's more fabulous than any outfit you can find. My whole life, I wanted to be camp and feminine and explore all of this stuff. And everybody was telling me, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. No, 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 no. The moment I started to do it, success, happiness, art, creativity, diversity, my life completely changed. I'm very lucky. I'm blessed to have an amazing life. The moment I started doing myself, you do you, girl. That's the slogan of gender funk.
That's where the confidence comes from, right?
And yeah, the confidence is just like being yourself. And when you're so confident in yourself, you're just letting it out. Traditional drag, biological men trying to be a woman, la la la. Now, as I was saying, drag is an art tool to express yourself and your gender. And of course, everybody has gender. So anyone can do drag, and that's what we're really fierce on in gender funk, In my drag children, I have a trans drag baby, a biological male, I have a biological woman drag baby. We've had straight men. We did a show just for straight men, where we train them in drag, and because we really want to break down. See, I can see you want to be a drag queen now, don't you? You're like,
Please,
I can be a drag queen.
please be a drag.
I'll do your makeup, don't worry, babe. So yeah, anybody can do drag. Because it's just an art form to explore your gender. You can do whatever you want. And when you realize you can do whatever you want, you become confident. And the more you express yourself and you explore things and things work, you're like, okay, cool, that was amazing. That wasn't so scary. What next? What can I challenge next?
Ricardo, let's talk about your childhood.
I'm joking, I'm joking.
Like, how was your love life?
I came out to my mother at 26.
26?
Girl. And I'm an undefined age.
So before that, your mom had no idea?
Oh, she knew. Girl, she knew. Because I first came out to my friends.
When was that?
I was 21 or 22.
So that's also still quite late. So
Very
before
late.
that, like containing yourself or like just like upset, depressed or anything? No?
Yeah, well, I was depressed. I had a lot of mental health problems because of the whole sexuality thing. And then I realized when I was 21, I was like, I'm homophobic. When men would kiss, I'd go, ugh. And it was because I'd been taught this behavior pattern that gay is wrong. And one day when I was 21, I was like, I'm gay and I'm homophobic. This is absolutely disgraceful.
Holy moly, how does that happen? You hate yourself,
right? It's very common. It's very common. So I was like, this is unacceptable. I'm mentally unwell. I'm being mean to other people now. I need to sort it out. So I went to counselling, I went to therapy, and they kind of said, go and come out and be around gay people or people that you feel comfortable with first and take your baby steps. You don't need to be like, I'm gay, everyone! Like, it doesn't happen. You can like tell one friend, or you can find like a gay queer person that you know and say, hey, can I just hang out with you for a bit? I'm, you know, starting to come out, I need a bit of support. Find your community.
Have you ever had any serious relationships when you were younger or recently?
This is a thing that's very common with, I mean, for gay men anyway. I'm not sure about the other LGBTQIs. It's very common for gay men to start having relationships at a later stage in life. Straight people when they're 16, they have those like little 3-month, oh my God, I'm in love with you, oh my God, I love you, oh, I hate you, like, and they break up after 3 months. When you're younger and you're 16, 15, you're playing with all these relationships. It's learning skills on how to manage relationships. So when I finally came out, that's when I started have those little relationships.
Actually, it's okay to date around when you're younger because you need to find your soulmate, yourself within a relationship. You also need to see like, what are my own mistakes in a relationship and what's the kind of person I can be with. And you don't just get that boom shakalaka the first day.
I mean, if you do, well done.
Wow.
All of my relationships have ended fabulously. We were like, this isn't working, I love you, I've had an amazing experience with you, we had lots of cute dates to break up, and I learned from that experience and I grew, and then I'll meet the next person, where are you? And I'll have a totally different, amazing, and differently beautiful relationship and I'll be more prepared.
Why you choose Vietnam to stay and work?
I read this book and it was many famous journalists, famous exposés, things they had exposed in the world. So a lot of the stories were about the Vietnam War. And it was American journalists and how they'd exposed what was happening in Vietnam. So when I'm reading this book, I'm like crying my eyes out. I knew the Vietnam War had happened, but I didn't know this had happened. So then my mind opened and I started to question things and find information for myself and educate myself. So the story of Vietnam, I mean, obviously a really tragic story, is what opened my mind to the world, and I was so thankful for that. So when I wanted to get experiences from different parts of the world and grow as an individual, I was like, I want to go back to Vietnam and hopefully give something back. I feel like I am because I've birthed 50 children.
Right.
And yeah, so I'm working really hard to give back because they gave so much to me.
In general, I also feel like Vietnam is such a safe space for foreigners in general to find themselves and to be more confident in what they want in life.
For sure. I also think, like, for me as a queer person, I mean, I'm very, very lucky. But I feel that what I love about Vietnam is I prefer Vietnamese and I suppose Asian culture because it's less aggressive. For me, luckily, as a foreigner here, being queer, no one's aggressive towards me. I can walk down the street, I walk down the street wearing this, and people just smile, and maybe they're confused, maybe they're like, what's going on? Yeah, but they're not aggressive, and for me that's super important. I want to walk down the street and not be scared I'm going to get beaten up.
Can you compare the LGBT community in Vietnam and your hometown?
I feel that the queer scene is more developed. People are like, if you look at queer as like a theory or a movement in a way, if you go to England, you will meet non-binary people, people who do not have a gender, and people who define themselves, even I don't know all the different definitions.
I am an alien.
Yeah, exactly, like asexual, pansexual, all these different terms. Vocabulary and the concepts around queer are much more developed, and you can find some really interesting crazy queerness going on, like exploring queerness in the West.
So about like the LGBT community in Vietnam?
I feel like the gender funk and the full disclosure kind of community is quite different from like local Vietnamese LGBT community. I feel like the queer scene in the West is a bit bitchy. I feel like it's much nicer here.
I kind of feel that in Cape Town too.
Yeah, but I understand why it's bitchy. Like, if you think about it, young gay people, when they're at school, they're getting bullied loads.
Yeah.
You make this defense mechanism of being a bitch, and unfortunately for a lot of gay people, when they get older, they don't lose it. They still have this wall up, a defense mechanism. But what's super interesting, I think, comparing the two, is that in the West, obviously, the queer, conceptually queer is much more developed and been explored. And drag has, I suppose, but because Vietnam is now starting to do it, I feel like that's way more exciting because who knows what direction it's going to go into. For example, me, I have lived a very queer life. I've been in some of the queerest spaces, I've met some of the most queer people who have all these mad definitions. But let me tell you, one of my drag babies is transgender, and we were sitting outside McDonald's, and he is 21, and he told me how he feels about gender, and it blew my mind. It's phenomenal, it's crazy, it's insane, and it's these voices that need to be heard, and I feel that these are the voices that are going to change what queer is and what the world is. Let's look in other places and see how else we can diversify queer and change it up and be nicer and be happier.
May I ask you about your future plan in Vietnam?
Well, me and you are gonna get married, and then we're gonna get a dog. I'm joking. I don't know. I just got really ill recently because I was working so hard on gender funk. There was a lot of responsibility and emotion, you know. Being the leader of like this thing that kind of launched really big, I didn't expect this to happen.
Lots of stress.
Yeah, and having 50 children. So we're actually changing how we structure gender funk. We'll have our events, but we're gonna do community events now, which will be led by actual local Vietnamese people will make the decisions and will be much more involved. I'm lucky to have the skill sets of the West of event organizing and stuff, so I kind of build the stage and do all the boring spreadsheets and stuff. I mean, I find them very sexy spreadsheets. And these are skill sets that my younger Vietnamese friends don't have yet, so we're restructuring it so they can be more part of it. but more part of the inspiration and themes. So I'm really excited on working with that, like changing genderfunk events to come more from local Vietnamese people and then take charge of the direction, get more professional, more polished, sleep more.
That's a great future plan, right?
Do you have anything to share to the LGBT community to live a good life and be confident as you?
3 words, you do you. It's really simple. My message is really, don't wait. You know, take it slow, do it in your own way, however you come out or however you explore and find yourself, but don't wait, like, you ain't got much time. So, you do you, find a community around you.
The longer you wait, the more regret, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's fine, like, because I don't want people who are like older queers maybe who haven't come out to be like, oh, it's too late for me. It isn't. You can turn any negative situation positive. You can flip it, you can take control of it, take it back. You know, every single person, you are important. Every human is important. And queer people, you have so much to give the world. You are so fabulous. And even if you're not fabulous in this way, maybe you're fabulous in different ways. I think the most fabulous people are the people who work at ICS, the charity, and they wear flip-flops and a t-shirt, but they work all day long to help queer people have better lives. And that's more fabulous than any outfit I'm ever gonna wear. Maybe. No, it is. So yeah, it's really simple. You do you, don't wait, and come to GenderFunk. We'll have a party.
So here's your gift.
Thank you. Do you want me to open it now?
No.
Okay, I'll just
Thank you so much for coming. It was so lovely to talk to you.
You're very welcome, Gammon. I know I could talk a lot, sorry. But I have a lot to say. But you know, yeah, I've been through it. So thank you so much for having me on this stage and space. I hope some people find some joy or education in this. And my name is Esther Ricardo. You two have come out, and everybody else, you're GenderFunk, so you do you.
Check out our show on YouTube channel MCVMedia and Come Out LGBT Vietnam at 9 p.m. every Saturday.
So you can watch more awesome videos on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, goodbye and see you later.